students, myself Dr. Murtaza Ansari. Today's topic is eyelids and lacrimal apparatus. Topic is eyelids and lacrimal apparatus. Just you see this picture, the simple picture of eye. Both eyelids are reverted. Upper eyelid is elevated up and lower eyelid is depressed. You can very clearly see the superior lacrimal. Here you can see the superior lacrimal papilla and punctum. You can observe here. Just you can observe here. Punctum is here. Punctum is here. A pit, you can observe the pit. You can observe the pit. Everted up is upper eyelid with eyelashes and inner surface of the upper eyelid. You can see here inner surface of the eyelid, inner surface of eyelid, inner surface of eyelid, and inner surface of lower eyelid. You can see here inner surface of lower eyelid and different parts. And this is your medial canthus. This is medial canthus of eye, is lateral canthus of eye, and different parts. Superior lacrimal papilla you can see here. Superior lacrimal fissure you can read very well, and plica semilunaris you can see here. I will discuss later. Lacrimal caruncle in lacrimal lake known as lacus lacrimalis. You can see here. You can see here. You can see here. And inferior lacrimal papilla and punctum, it is well visible here. Well visible here. Now before this slide, come to the next slide. Just see the different parts of eye when the both lids are everted. Superior lacrimal conjunctiva, tarsal meibomian glands shining through. You can see here meibomian glands shining here, meibomian glands shining here, meibomian glands shining here, and corneoscleral junction. Before this, just black spot here. Black spot is pupil, and this one, this circle is dark brown circle is iris, and corneoscleral junction. This is corneoscleral. Different parts of eye when both eyelids are everted. Just you observe this. And bulbar conjunctiva or sclera, you can see here very clearly. You can see here very inferior conjunctival fornices. Two fornices, upper and lower. Inferior you can see here. Inferior fornices. Inferior fornices. Inferior fornices. And junction of corneoscleral junction, cornea with sclera, is also known as limbus. In details, the every part of this eyeball, eye regarding cornea, pupil, Golgi body, apparatus, conjunctiva, sclera, and other layers will be discussed in the next discussion of eyeball. So come over here. Different parts regarding eyelid. You can see other section. Just observe here. Different parts of the when longitudinal section is taken, levator palpebri. It will be discussed in the different layers of eyelids. Just you see the levator palpebri superioris muscle is here. Just here. Just you observe first, then it will be discussed in the different layers of eyelids. and superior tarsal, that is Muller's muscle, a smooth Muller muscle. You can see here, you can see here, see here, see here. Sclera is here, sclera is here, sclera is here. And orbicularis oculi muscle, palpebral part, you can see this region, this region, this region. Again I will show you. Just see, that is a palpebral over the lid. And tarsal meibomian glands, you can see here, arranged here, your meibomian glands. You can all are situated in your different layers of your eyelid. Sebaceous glands, you can see here the sebaceous glands here at the border of margin of upper eyelid. I am showing you. And opening of tarsal glands, you can see here, opening of tarsal glands over the margin. Inferior tarsus, okay, you can see here, inferior tarsus, inferior tarsus, inferior tarsus. And orbicularis oculi muscle, palpebral part in the lower eyelid, see here, see here. Inferior conjunctival fornix here, superior fornix is here, inferior fornix is here. And orbital septum, just we see the orbital septum, orbital septum. Different chambers will be discussed in the details of the eyeball. Come over the eyelid. First, eyelid is the two eyelids upon a lower eyelid, that is a covering layer of your eyeball. It covers the, and it gives shades, and while sleeping they closes the eye and protects the eye. Important functions I can tell you. Important function is protection. If any injury or any substance just comes near to your eye, both eyelids close reflexly. Why? They are for to protect your eyeball due to any foreign injury or due to any external injury. So important function is the protection and cleansing of the eyeball. With every blink of your both eyelids, you remember the four-wheeler vehicle wiper. During rain, it wipe the any molecule over the rain molecule, water molecule or dust. It clean your glass and makes well visible. Same work with the different glands and lacrimal fluid, your both lids does, and make your cornea and conjunctival area, orbital part clean, and it protects from the dryness and also washes with every blink to protect any infective source, any infection stimulus washes out with every blink and protects your eyeball. So it protects your eyeball, especially cornea and conjunctiva. And what are the layers of your eyeball? Just I shown you everything here in the different layers here, muscles and membrane, fornices. So just enumeration of that layers. First layer is skin and superficial fossa. Next, muscle, which takes part in the formation of upper eyelid, is orbicularis oculi, tarsi and palpebral fossa and conjunctiva. Superficial fossa, this is very thin and loosely adherent with this, and skin is due to loosely adherent of the superficial fascia. Very easily skin over the eyelid moves freely. That's why during any injury, swelling of lids is very common. Very easily it gets swollen. Next slide. Just you can see, observe here, palpebral fascia you can see here, and conjunctival cornice you can see here, superior tarsus you can see here, superior tarsus you can see here, cavity of conjunctival sac you can observe here, and inferior conjunctival fornix is very clear here. Palpebral fascia you can see here, palpebral fascia you can see here, palpebral fascia, see here palpebral fascia, and other structure of your eyeball. Next come with the tarsi. What is tarsi? And tarsus gland, ciliary gland, palpebral fascia. Tarsi are the two thin plates of condensed fibrous tissue extending from the free margins of eyelids. Tarsi stiffen the eyeball. You can see the tarsi. I can show you you can see here the tarsi. Superior, you can see here. You can see this arterial supply came here. In different picture. Tarsi I have shown in this. See here, tarsus of upper eyelids. See here, thin sheet. You can observe, sharply observe this. This is the tarsus of upper eyelid. This is written here, tarsus, and arrow mark is here. Here, a simple band. There is a thin plate of condensed fibrous tissue extending from margins of the eyelid. Tarsi stiffen the eyelid. It stiffens the eyelid. Superior tarsus much larger, where inferior tarsus is narrow. It's a narrow strip and attached to inferior orbital margin or palpebral you can see here. Just see the picture again. I will show you this picture. Then regarding the superior tarsus much larger, where inferior tarsus is a narrow strip attached to the inferior orbital margin by palpebral fascia. Important question. Very simple, layer by layer, all thin layers. And superior tarsus, its deeper surface is adherent with palpebral conjunctiva. Its deeper surface is adherent to the palpebral conjunctiva. Upper surface with levator palpebris superioris muscle I have shown you earlier, and tarsus lower edge adherent to the skin of the margins of eyelid. Just before I showed you. I have showed you before. Regarding the tarsus glands lie in deeper surface of tarsi in cross section, longitudinal section already I have mentioned and I show you. Their ducts open on the margins behind the eyelashes. Ciliary glands arranged behind the root of eyelashes in several rows. Their ducts open on margin when infected. Their ducts open on margins of eyelids. When it get infected, red swelling appears. That red swelling is known as stye. Very short question is frequently asked in the examinations, in your written and asked in Viva also. Stye. Remember a stye I will show in the clinical while dealing the clinical aspect. Regarding palpebral fascia, It is thin fibrous membrane and forms orbital septum. Passes posterior to the lacrimal sac and attached to the margin of groove lodged in sac. Your lacrimal sac palpebral, regarding palpebral fossa, thin fibrous just next slide. See here. See here, observe here. Thin fibrous membrane and forms orbital septum and passes posterior to the lacrimal sac and attached to the margin of the groove lodged in the sac. Where sac is situated where? Just dealing with the lacrimal gland and lacrimal apparatus, it is well mentioned. See here. It is medial canthus of eye and lacrimal sac is situated here. Lacrimal sac is situated here. This is nasolacrimal duct. Puncti, both puncti, upper and lower puncti are here. Lower puncti and upper punctum. Upper punctum and lower punctum is here. Come before this slide, levator palpebris superior nasal. Come here. Then regarding, it is a thin fibrous membrane and forms orbital septum, passes posterior to the lacrimal sac and attached to the margin of the groove lodged the sac. Sac is a small bean size. Sac, lacrimal sac is a very small, lesser than bean size. Situated where? Near the medial canthus of eye and pierced by this fossa. Palpebral fossa is pierced by blood vessels and nerves. Regarding levator palpebris superioris, I have shown you before. This muscle, its tendon expands, its thin becomes wide sheet attached to orbicularis oculi muscle I shown earlier and front of tarsal superior fornix of conjunctiva and levator palpebris superioris muscle, it raises the eyelid up. Regarding blood vessels and nerves of, you can see here the blood vessels clearly. See here, a small blood vessels. See here blood vessels and nerves I will show you. So arterial supply is the branch of ophthalmic artery and veins are superior trochlear and facial veins. Nerves are motor nerves, temporal and upper zygomatic branch of facial nerve. Regarding sensory nerve supply, upper eyelid, palpebral branch of the lacrimal nerve and twigs from it receives twigs from supratrochlear, supraorbital and infratrochlear, and lower lid receives nerves from infraorbital and infratrochlear. Yes, come forward. Regarding lacrimal apparatus, your lacrimal apparatus, see here, different parts of the orbital part of the lacrimal gland, see here, and palpebral part of the lacrimal gland, see here. This is two parts, very clearly green colored. So lacrimal glands, regarding lacrimal glands, lie mainly in the orbit, few in upper eyelids, in between conjunctiva and palpebral fossa. Its ducts, how many ducts? 8 to 10 usually open into the conjunctiva near superior fornices. I have shown you fornices, upper and lower fornices that open in the, all ducts open into the conjunctiva near superior fornix. Regarding what is conjunctiva, it's a thin membrane covered with stratified squamous epithelium, lines the deep surfaces of eyelids. Over cornea, it is firmly attached and known as anterior epithelium of cornea. Over fornices, it is loosely attached. Regarding lacrimal canaliculi, it is slender tubes, 2 in number. Approx dimension is 1:2.5 centimeter with lacrimal punctum. I've just shown you the punctum. See here, here is the punctum. Here is the punctum, lower punctum and upper punctum. And regarding the lacrimal sac, just I have stated earlier, posterior palpebral ligament situated in between the posterior palpebral ligament lodged in lacrimal groove where the lacrimal sac rests is situated, and posterior to the medial orbital margin. This is the situation of your lacrimal sac. Its upper end is blind. See here, this is your upper end, this is your lower end, this is your lacrimal duct. Upper end is blind, closed, and lower end is open. It's a tubular structure, 1.5 into 2.5 centimeter, begins at anteromedial corner of floor of orbit, opens into inferior meatus of nasal cavity. See here, this duct, see here, this duct is blind above, upper part is blind, closed, and lower end is open, opening into inferior meatus. While discussing the different meati of the nasal septum, of the nasal cavity, I have mentioned this. So regarding the lacrimal duct, now it's a very short and comprehensive study of your eyelids and lacrimal apparatus, but it's of very importance. Regarding its clinical, you can see here also nasolacrimal duct. This is nasolacrimal duct, opening into the inferior meatus. Now come over some clinical aspects. Earlier I have mentioned you regarding the STI, red, swollen, infected, bulging, abscess-like appearance. That is known as STI. Just see here, this swelling, this you can see here. See here, yellowish part infected, whole your eyelid is swollen, but here only upper medial, near the upper medial canthus, this lid is above the punctum, it is swollen. Eyelashes you can see here. Usually roots are infected and series of infections runs over the margin of the eyelids. It's very painful condition. So you can see here the STI. Common infection of the eyelids is blepharitis, and next collection of some cheesy material in the eyelids, usually upper eyelid is involved. It is painless and simple swelling we can observe very clearly over the eyelid. While reverting the eyelid up, you can see the bulging and swelling. See here. While operating this, to revert the upper eyelid, and it is scooped, white cheesy material comes out. You can see very well here. Calagian, that is known as Calagian here. It is non-tender condition, non-inflammatory condition. Calagian you can see. Next condition you can see here, that is infected lacrimal sac. Here see, observe the chronic in the cases of blockade of nasolacrimal duct. There is collection and discharge over the near the medial canthus. It is full of discharge and leads are sticking together, and medial canthus is swollen, painful, tender, and discharge can be observed regularly. Discharge confirmed. Here the swollen area, red swollen area, that is infected swollen your lacrimal sac, and this condition is known as the chronic dacryocystitis when your nasolacrimal duct is blocked. That is due to the blockade of your nasolacrimal duct. You can see other different conditions. See here. It is a very good case of infected sac, yellowish area and red inflammatory peripheral area. You can see here. In next slide also you can see. See here, bulging and swelling. You can observe here. A pus discharge here. You can observe pus discharge, yellowish pus discharge. It's a blepharitis. Come over these cases and different other conditions, like in Down syndrome there is slant upper eyelid. You can see the different races where eyelid is Chinese, Japanese and other, especially in the Down syndrome same appearance is there, slant eyelids, and also found in the Cry-Du-Chat syndrome, slant eye appearance. So this is regarding the eyelid and different clinical, in short, clinical condition of your blockade of the chronic nasolacrimal duct leading to the chronic dacryocystitis. It's a very short chapter and clinically very important, and everyone can observe any type of infection very easily. So read it well, and later on I will discuss about the eyeball, muscle, different parts of the eye, different parts in the next class. Okay, thanks.